Hello and welcome to my review of the Necron Royal Warden found in the Warhammer 40,000 Indomitus box set. You'll also find him in the Warhammer 40,000 Recruit Edition box set for £32.50. So you can either get him in this set for £125 when the set's no longer available, or there is another way, and that is in the Recruit Edition. What we'll do is we'll have a look at the model himself, we'll go through all the details and things, I'll go through some size comparisons, and then I'll go through all of his rules. So to start off with, he is an HQ choice. He's a nice looking model actually. He's got this kind of, I want to say lieutenant, dare I say lieutenant vibe to him. He's the same kind of body build guide thing to the Necron Overlord. Except for he doesn't have as big a kind of hunches, I want to call them, like basically shoulder blades, shoulder pauldron things, because they're not really pauldrons because they're not covering like all of his shoulder joints, but his flared armour, his flared back armour, it just isn't as big and imposing as the Overlord. I'll show you the comparison with him in a moment. He also doesn't have any melee weapons, he's just got this range weapon called a Relic Gauss Blaster, or Gauss Blaster, I call it Gauss. But he does have a bit of bling. He's got a load of these Necron symbol type chain things. Looks to be 7 rows of them. He does have a blade on this weapon though, and he's got a skull on the base. He's standing on a bit of a rock. He's got chips in his armour and spinal column thing that connects to his Relic Gauss Blaster. So there you go, that's what he looks like. He's got an alright amount of detail. Let's go through some size comparisons then. So comparing him to the other HQ choice, I say the main HQ choice, the Necron Overlord, he's similar kind of height. The hyperphase glaive does make the Overlord a bit taller, but height wise they're pretty much the same, except for these top shoulder arches, or whatever you want to call them. So this is kind of like his second in command, I'd want to say. Compared to the Scorpec Lord, which is the biggest HQ in the set, absolutely massive, this guy, and yeah, totally dwarfs the Royal Warden. And of course Illuminor Seras, need I even go there, he's even bigger than the Scorpec Lord, and yeah, dwarfs him too. But comparing him to your standard troops, which are your warriors, he works quite well, especially with the warriors that are equipped with the brand new Gauss Reapers, because they look very similar. You know, these double-barreled type of Gauss weapons. So if you get a squad of these 10 or 20 or however many, and you put them near him, they're going to share some nice aesthetics. You will be able to see that he's the leader in charge. He's the tallest, the biggest, most imposing. He's got the largest weapon. So yeah, he's going to be standing heads and shoulders above the rest of your normal sort of troops. Of course though, it wouldn't be much of a Super Saiyan review if I didn't compare his size with the largest Necron model I own, which is the Necron Seraptech, and yeah, it just goes to show you just how he measures up. He probably comes up to just after the second notch of one of the legs, and that's where he measures up with one of these super heavy units. So now I'll just show you some comparisons with some of the Primaris HQ units. So there's the Lieutenant, which I'd like to compare him to the most, I guess. He is taller than the Lieutenant, much like the Overlord is. And compared to the Captain, he's almost as tall as the Captain, but not quite, and that's mainly because of the Captain's base. As you can see, it just puts him a few millimeters taller than the Royal Warden, but they're not far off it, even without the scenic base of the Captain. So he's still going to be quite tall and imposing compared to the other Primaris models in the set, so bear that in mind. And likewise, if he's taller than these, he's going to be taller than all of the your other standard Primaris models. The final size comparison I always like to make is with the Legacy Space Marine, Primaris and Sly Marbo. So compared to a normal Primaris, as I said, he's going to be taller. Definitely compared to a normal Space Marine or a Legacy Space Marine, he's a fair bit taller as well, quite a bit actually. And then compared to like Imperial Guard or Katachan or, you know, Sly Marbo in this case, he's way taller than him. Interesting to see sort of how he would measure up, whether he is 9 foot tall or, but I think he's almost pushing 9, he must be pushing 9 foot tall, really. If Slime Arbo's what, 6 foot or so, and Space Marine's 7 foot, and then Primaris is what, 8 foot, he's got to be 9 foot, hasn't he? But there we go, that's Games Workshop's kind of strange sizing that they go for, but I hope that's given you an idea of just how big the Royal Warden is compared to all the other models. He's pretty much the same size as the Overlord. Okay, and now you've entered my part of the review where I will go through all of his rules. You'll find them in your Edge of Silence supplement. He is an HQ choice, he's a power points cost of 4. I have no idea what his match play points cost is, but no doubt that's in the Warhammer 40,000 app. But you will have to pay the monthly subscription to get hold of those costs, to get hold of that information. So his stat line reads: movement of 5 inches, weapon skill and ballistic skill both 3+, strength 5, toughness 5, 4 wounds, 3 attacks, leadership 10, and a save of 3+. This model is equipped with a Relic Gauze Blaster. So the Relic Gauze Blaster is a range of 24 inches, rapid fire 2, strength 5, AP -2, and a damage of 2. So how does that compare to a normal Necron Warrior's Gauze Flayer? It's the same range, however it's rapid fire 2 instead of the Flayer as rapid fire 1. It's got a better strength at strength 5 instead of 4. It's got a better AP at -2 instead of -1, and it's got a better damage at 2 instead of 1. So overall, it is just a slightly better version of the Gauze Flayer. And its ballistic skill is still the same as a normal warrior, 3+, so bear that in mind too. Unfortunately, he's not equipped with any melee weapons, which does suck. I would have rather him have some kind of small hyperphase dagger, maybe, or hyperphase bayonet. Something melee related though. His abilities: he's got Living Metal, and then Adaptive Strategy. In your command phase, you can select one friendly dynasty unit within 9 inches of this model. Until the end of the turn, that unit can fall back and be selected to shoot and charge. That's alright, but I would have preferred some kind of ability that allowed them to reroll missed shooting attacks or reroll failed wounds. That would have been more beneficial, I think. The keywords: Necrons, Infantry, Character, and Royal Warden. Compared to the Overlord, of course, if I had to pick one, I'd definitely pick the Overlord. He's only 1 power point cost more, but there are enough improvements to warrant that extra power points cost, such as the improvements of weapon skill, ballistic skill, number of wounds. The Overlord gets an invulnerable save, which the Royal Warden does not, and the Overlord has better buffs, and actually has a melee weapon that can do a fair bit of damage. Yes, the Overlord is lacking in a ranged weapon, because just the Tachyon arrow is a one-shot weapon, but still, I'd rather have the Overlord over the Royal Warden. Still doesn't detract from such a cool looking model though. What do you guys think of the Royal Warden? Do you think it's a missed opportunity from Games Workshop? Do you think that they had the opportunity to make like a Necron Lieutenant equivalent? What are your thoughts? Please put them down in the comments below. Thank you ever so much for joining me today. Thank you for watching. The flesh is weak.